knows it's there for him. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. We'll get started right now, and leading off will be Bruce Hamilton, the president and GM of the Kelowna Rockets.
Morning, and thanks everybody for finding the time to come down here on a lovely Thursday morning. Just right off the top, we'll take questions from the floor instead of getting together after. So, you know, any of the questions related to the building probably will go towards Tom. Anything about the bid certainly can come towards me. I'd like to thank Mayor Dias, City Manager Doug Gilchrist, the City of Kelowna, most importantly, for the tremendous support in this, and of course the City Councilors. And I'd also like to acknowledge Mike Strawn from GSL. GSL is a big part of this also. And I'd like to take a moment just to thank Jim Gabriel, Doug Nicholas, and Chris Babcock from the city also, who have been instrumental in helping us put together all the things we've had to go through to get to the position we're in, so that we're in a position to bid on this thing. And now we are, and we're really excited. And like I said, the bid letter went in yesterday. We confirmed that we're going to submit the bid, so it starts a process that will go through probably 3 or 4 months before we get people on the ground here looking at it, and it gives us an opportunity now to start getting our committee together. We'll want to get a chairman and then probably an event coordinator in place here in the next while. So that's going to be the summertime work. We're going to, the real exciting side of this from my perspective, which is the hockey side obviously, is we're going into a phase right now, or a cycle right now with our team that's very exciting. We're going to have T.J. Ginla's going to be one of the first players picked in the draft in 2 weeks. So we've got the foundation of a tremendous team. It isn't 2020, we had to go out and do an awful lot of shopping to try and get the team built, which really affected us after the event was canceled. So this time we're going in with we're ready to go, and we're not going to have to shop around to make our team competitive. So from a hockey perspective, we're going to have a very, very exciting team and a good team, not only this year, but next year. So that really excites me from the hockey side of it. I know that there will be some questions about the hockey side. I'll be happy to answer those. And once again, personally, I want to, on behalf of our company, thank the city in particular here for stepping up and really becoming our partner on the bid for this event, which we probably couldn't do without them, just simply because the scope of it is way bigger than it was before. And I think the opportunity to bring this event to this city, and the financial reward that it also brings of 10 days of hotels being full, and this building being packed and exciting again, as we did see the last time I was here. So anyways, I'll pass it over to Mayor Dias, but I sincerely thank everybody for being here today. It's a big day for us.
Oh, we better get him outfitted with a winning jersey.
Turn around, Mr. Mayor, turn around. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Bruce, and thank you for all the names that you mentioned for all of our partners, and especially a lot of the individuals at City who have worked with this. I can't help feel but some nostalgia as I join you here to announce this bid that we are going to make. As many of you know, I played a leading role in Kelowna's last bid in 2020. Although the bid was successful, we ultimately fell short due to forces beyond our control, namely the global pandemic. And collectively, we've learned valuable lessons and have come back stronger and even more determined than ever. And 2026 will be our time to shine in Kelowna with the Kelowna Rockets. The Kelowna Rockets have always been a source of excitement and inspiration for our community, and bringing this event back to our city will not only bring an excitement around our home team, our arena, and our loyal fan base, but for years to come, but also bring significant economic and social benefits to our community. The City of Kelowna, as a partner for this bid, is committed to investing in the necessary legacy capital improvements to Prospera Place to ensure they will comply with both the WHL and the CHL standards for the bid requirements. The improvements will have benefits and impacts beyond the Memorial Cup, as they will prepare the city for the upcoming large-scale events like the 2025 Brier and the 2025 Canadian Country Music Awards. GSL has been a partner in bringing entertainment, culture, and sports to our city, and we appreciate their contribution to our vibrant downtown, and I am proud to know that through Mike Stantham, GSL has committed to working with the city in good faith in submitting a successful bid and hosting the event in 2026. As the past host city, we know that hosting the Memorial Cup will bring a large surge of tourism, as well as national coverage and exposure to Kelowna and to the surrounding region. Based on past economic impact studies, the event is anticipated to bring over $15 million in economic activity to our region, creating more jobs and more opportunities for our residents. Today, we are here to celebrate our team, our community, and our commitment to fostering more opportunities to grow professional sports here in Kelowna. So on behalf of all of Council and all the residents of Kelowna, we are happy to be a partner in this bid to host the 2026 Memorial Cup right here. Thank you.
I think this will be for the mayor. Bruce, thank you. Huge, exciting news for hockey fans, but I think people who are not hockey fans will be interested in knowing how much is it going to cost to give Prospera the upgrades that are needed for a winning bid, and how much will taxpayers be on the hook for, or how much is the city be on the hook for?
Council just recently in our budgets moved forward that we would put aside $3.7 million for the upgrades that we are looking at for Prospera Place. But it is very important to know that any improvements that we make at this particular point in time will be legacy improvements. So they will go on and in perpetuity exist with the property into the future. So yes, there is an expense associated at this time in doing some of those upgrades, but there's also the ability in the future to look at what is the ability to recover some of that cost with the events that we have here, what is the economic impact to our community. It's an investment in the facility, but it's also an investment in our community, and it's an investment in future events coming to this community.
Where's the revenue going to come from? Is it going to come from the existing tax base, or are you going to be looking at, a ticket additional fee, or?
Sorry, the revenue for the upgrades themselves, that's out of the capital budget from the City of Kelowna. So that's the partnership that we have structured with the Kelowna Rockets. So it's coming from the capital, and I have our Director of Finance here. He could come right up and tell you exactly where it's coming from. Would you like to come up and answer the question, Mr. Sass? Might as well get the answer correct for you, and I know this gentleman can give it correct to you. Mr. Sass, our Director of Finance, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The funds come from an allocation out of the 2023 surplus. So no incremental fees required. It comes from existing funds in 2023.
So the key part to that is that it ends up being there's no tax increase associated with regards to it. It's already within our operating budgets, and it's those funds being allocated towards this bid and the improvements to this property.
Now, what will be the total cost of the upgrades? You don't want to assume that the city is taking the full cost of the upgrades. We have an
Well, what we have done, and again, some of this information will come out, as Bruce has mentioned, when we're going through the bid process. What are the requirements needed from the CHL and from the bid in order to look at bringing the property to the point where it's acceptable for CHL to accept it, to host the 2020 Memorial Cup. But as I had mentioned, we have allocated an amount of $3.7 million for those upgrades at this time.
Does the partnership with GSL look like? Are they contributing financially?
The partnership with GSL will be continual. They are the operator of the building, and that relationship that we have with them will be important to look at moving this forward. And as we get further into the bid structure, we'll be able to kind of itemize the different relationships that we have with GSL through there. But their communication with us and their acceptance and willingness and putting Mike as their point person to work alongside us to advance this has been, we're just very grateful for that.
Mayor, you mentioned the $3.7 million for the facility upgrades. Are there other costs associated with the bid, obviously, the city has to take on, or no?
At this point in time, the allocation is, there is some initial grant funding that we've put aside. I believe it's an amount of about $350,000 towards the actual bid itself, which is outside of infrastructure items associated with regards to the property. But as I'm aware from previous operations of the tournaments, there is a revenue stream that comes in from tickets sold, from sponsorship, all of those particular items as the committee gets going, and then there's expenses associated with that. So there'd be a balance of basically the infrastructure items that we would be looking at putting forward as a city, but also some of the expenses and the operations of the tournament will come from the revenues which are obtained through revenues of the tournament.
And this might be a question for both of you, just in regard to the previous bid back in 2020. Have you learned things from that bid, or things you're doing differently this time around?
I'll let you take it.
Well, for sure, anytime you're changing, but the bid is different. This is with the CHL now. In past years, the Western Hockey League would, when the event is in the West, they would host it. You would bid through the league for that. Now it's totally a national bid, and it'll be an independent committee. It won't be the owners of our 22 teams picking who gets to host this. It'll be an independent group that is put forward by the CHL. And yeah, we will have learned a lot. We'll probably incorporate a few more people into the management side of just the event. From our perspective, we just don't have the manpower in our company to simply take on all the things that will be with it. But we've got a pretty good foundation of people set for that already, and that's not going to be a concern, especially in this community. When we were bidding for 2020, we had a lot of people committed already, and they've already started reaching out again that take on certain committees. So it's a big undertaking, but one thing about this city, we've got a great group of volunteers.
Bruce, do you have a sense of who your competition is going to be for this bid?
Today we'll find out who all bid. I believe there's a couple American teams, and I think there's a couple Prairie teams that have bid, but we'll know more today. I think that there will be some interest that I think once our bid is made public like it is right now, I think that there will be some people probably decide that they are going to step away also. And I'm not saying that in arrogance or anything. I think that there's a lot of people that feel that we deserve to have an opportunity to have this again because of 2020, but it's not a given. You have to earn it, and like I said, we have to go through this process with the independent selection committee.
Bruce, is there a date for when it would be judged?
There's a process. Gavin probably can answer that even.
Thanks.
The bid selection is in, I believe it's December 14th is the day they announced.
Yeah. So we've got some time. There's other areas we've got to catch up on here in September, things like that. We have to have our book of guidelines and things like that the events we're gonna use for that, and that's going to include Downtown Kelowna, Tourism Kelowna, all of them are going to be involved in this process as they were the last time, and it'll even be bigger and better, I'm pretty sure, from what we want to do.
And can you just give us an idea of what kind of upgrades are needed for this bid? Is it capacity? Is it?
No, it's not. It's not capacity at all. It's just there's things that need to be upgraded in here, and I'd rather, for obvious reasons, I'd rather have the mayor answer those questions than me.
The scoreboard, ring lighting, audio system, a permanent media facility, Zambonis, and then there's other items that come into play. But we do, and we are developing a list of what needs to be done. Part of, with the Rockets submitting their application yesterday, I know we'll get further feedback from the CHL of what the other requirements are, potentially for the facility to meet the requirements of the bid, and we will work it. But those are a few of the items that we know that we will be needing to deal with. There's also dressing rooms to be structured accordingly, and a number of things that as Bruce had mentioned from the 2020, I still have all my notes. So there'll be a lot of that which we will go through, but then there'll also be other items because again, as Bruce had mentioned, we're not standing in front of the owners of the Western Hockey League teams this time. It is done through, the bid process is done through the CHL.
I mean, obviously, this is a long list, and as Bruce mentioned, some are requirements that have to be done for the WHL anyway, like sound and lighting, et cetera, et cetera. With the Memorial Cup now less than 2 years away, we've got a pretty tight window as far as construction and what would need to be done. Can you give us a sense of any timeline? Would we start after a bid was successful, begin before? What the second timeline look like?
And I know that through a number of individuals at City, that it ends up being that they've already are aware of the items that needs to be obtained, and there's been some preliminary discussion. As I had mentioned, there are other events that are coming to this facility, the CCMAs, the Briar, and I think it's been discussed that there's concerns with regards to an example would be the clock at this particular point in time because of the age of it, that if something were to happen to it substantially, that there may not be the ability to obtain the replacement parts for it. So those are things that need to be addressed anyways. So they're being scoped out at this time. What will accelerate that is once we find out on the 14th of September that Kelowna has been awarded the 2026 Memorial Cup.
Mr. Mayor, just one last question. If you would tell us where this puts the building transfer in 2029 now. Revert to the city, is that still the plan?
The city, and we had announced at one point in time a number of months ago that we were looking at establishing an expression of interest, and that would be the first step to see whether there was interested parties looking at potentially coming into the city and managing that, and that may be a varied number of proponents who have those considerations. And then once that expression of interest is done, then there will be a formal RFP established. And that formal RFP will outline some of the terms moving forward from there. I believe that those discussions will happen over the next 6 or 7 months, and we'll have a better understanding of where that is early into 2025.
So status quo for now, nothing's changed, this doesn't change anything as it was before. Thank you.
Status quo.
And just a quick last question. Mayor, I'm sure you're both in the arena quite a bit over the years. How would you characterize the state of the facility right now? Is it feeling a bit tired? Is it feeling a bit old? Do you talk with your Kamloops mayor colleague and look at their arena and say, wish you had that?
The facility is, We know that there needs to be some, some upgrades to it. We're aware of that, and that's why we're having these discussions, and that's why we allocated the capital to make those. But, with the introduction of the handrails, that was something that was, wanted for a substantial length of time, and putting those in, it's allowed individuals to feel a little bit more comfortable walking up and down the stairs. So there are a lot of good things that are happening, and there just is more items that we'll continue to build upon.
Any other questions?
When do you start making announcements with regards to the shaping of the bid committee?
That will start shortly. We'll get going, and I think our past chair is probably a little too busy to take it on again, but we're going to start that process, and we've got a number of people that we're interested in and that are interested in it, so we'll get moving on that, and then start formulating the committees and things like that. So
You'll be having us back here to have a much longer table and each chair.
I hope we're back here December 14th, getting ready to really get excited. So, but no, it's we're honored to have the opportunity again. When we bid on 2020, I said that's the last time I'm doing this. That I was, well, we want to win, and I want it back in this city. And I don't use I a lot, but I want it back in this city again. We want to do it. We set the standard the last time we hosted it, and it's time to do it again, and we'll even make it bigger and better and make our city proud. And from my perspective, we want to win a cup again. That's all I'm really interested in.